Like you think Josh thinks that that's a benefit to Diego, kicking him and punching him in the face while he's not defending himself? That's a power play. That's a top play. Hey, why don't you lay on your back or lay on your stomach and let me just do some things, okay? You go ahead, lay on your stomach. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, okay? Now you just sit there and close your eyes. Is that super dissimilar from, hey, so I've got a new training tactic I want to share with you. I'm going to go ahead and hang you from the ceiling, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to just take the shots that I give, okay? I want you to just take the shots I give. Some of them are going to be punches. Some of them are going to be kicks. You're not going to know which is which. But I want you to take it, and I want you to let those harden you, all right? And afterwards, okay, after we've hardened you right up, I'm going to throw you on your stomach. I'm going to soften you right up, okay? All of this shit is just him establishing dominance over a weak-minded imbecile, okay? So anybody who's watching that, anyone watching that, who thinks that particular video is just like, oh, wow, I knew this guy didn't know what he's doing training. That's not what that is. I mean, it's that, but it's also him, lay on your stomach, okay? Here, I want you to close your eyes. Anything I put in your hand, I just want you to hold it, okay? Don't let go. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Now, I didn't set out for this channel to be a Diego and Joshua TMZ channel. I didn't, right? What I set out to do was be entertaining. And when someone gives me softballs down the middle to be entertaining and funny, talking about the UFC, I'm going to take a swing. These guys are throwing me basketballs down the middle, okay? Like, I've never seen pitches that are going to be easier to hit than Joshua and Diego continually putting out additional content, because every single thing that they put out makes them look more crazy and idiotic. Now, in this case, we're going to talk about Joshua torturing Diego, and Diego thinking that this is in some form training, I guess. I mean, believe me, I've got lots to say on that. And then we're going to talk about Diego attempting suicide. So, no one was taking him seriously when he said that, I think the UFC is going to kill me. No, and, him and Josh went home. They're like, dude, no one's taking us seriously, man. I think what we need to do is let's try to give them a reason to kill us. I mean, let's get personal, right? Like, because, I feel like a minute ago they were talking about the UFC as an organization, right? Like, they were talking about the UFC as an evil organization. And since they had nothing on the UFC, they decided to get personal. They decided to get real personal with Dana and Sean Shelby. Like, let's get as personal as we possibly can to try to make it seem like it's an evil organization, because two guys who are individuals who work for that organization may have done some questionable behavior that basically every guy in their position probably would have done. But, let's see what we can do. Let's make some public accusations. Let's try to destroy their marriage. Let's see what we can do. And then let's see if maybe we can get them to kill us, because then it'll prove us right? So instead of doing like a drink the Kool-Aid mass suicide, what we could do is we can romantically together get murdered by the UFC or by the president of the UFC, and then it'll make us look like we were right all along. And then in our post-mortem, everyone will go, you know what? I thought Diego was fucking crazy, and I thought that guy Josh was a total fraud. Turns out the threat was real. Totally validates everything that they said, right? So, wow, what an amazing sacrifice that they're trying to make. I really respect these guys, especially Diego, okay? So let me just start there before I even get into the details of what I'm talking about, all right? Oh, by the way, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell your friends, okay? So someone in the comments the other day was like, why do these people always ask people to subscribe? I think that we should be able to just choose what we subscribe to. Why do they ask us to like things? I don't know. Do you think that it's probably because I'm just reminding people that would help me, okay? Like, I'm grinding here, dude. Do you think I'm doing this for the money? Well, I'm doing this for the long-term money, but do you think I'm making a lot of money with my YouTube channel? Okay, I have a goal in mind, and in order to reach that goal, I need the algorithm to suggest my content to people. And when you like the video, it helps do that. When you watch it for a long period of time, it helps. When you forward it to people, it helps. When you post it in a chat group or a forum, it helps. So I'm asking for your help, okay? And if you don't want to help me, that's fine. But don't ask why people do it. Geez. If you don't know you're never going to get money you don't ask for, then you don't know nothing. Anyway, so let's talk about this. All right, so what I was just about to say is the reason I have less respect for Diego than I do for Joshua is because if you look at two people, right, and you've got one you've got two, and you're like, all right, so how do I gauge people, right? Like, so let's go through the process of engagement. One, are they smart? No. Okay, so they fail that test. So we've established they're both dumb, right? But that's so when I start talking to someone, I'm like, is this a smart guy, right? And if let's say that they are smart or they aren't smart, the next thing I say is like, are they talented in something that I value, right? Like, so are you potentially, I don't know, like you might be stupid, but are you like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, or are you a former professional kickboxer, So you can be stupid and be those things. So, okay, at least Diego's got that going for him, right? At least he's got that going for him. So there you go. Like, and he's an incredible fight career. So look, he's 10 out of 10 respect on that, in that regard, right? Then you're like, so is this person loyal? It's like, no, not loyal at all, actually. Actually, straight up disloyal, to a point where if you fail number 3, is this a person who you could rely on to be loyal? And it's like, oh no, absolutely not. They get a 0 out of 10 for that. You're pretty much fucked on the rest of it from me. Like if you fail number 3, it's like, dude, you could be smart. You could be a black belt. You could, have crushed it in business. You could be a million of those things. And guess what? If you fail number 3, you're trash. Okay. Who cares what you accomplish if no one can trust you, right? Or if you're too stupid to even recognize that you owe loyalty to people, it's just, again, so like we said, he failed number 1, which might be why he fails number 3. Too stupid to recognize who he owes loyalty to. And it's not just that he's not being loyal, he's actually going the opposite direction and attacking the person now very directly in the worst possible way that you could attack a person, when the person he owes his entire life to this person, right? And so he just flipped around and now he's going after his family. So, here's the thing. So getting back to my original point, if you've got 2 people, they're both dumb. One of them is leading the other one around by the nose, and this one's kind of like a manipulative whatever, and this one is just an idiot who follows him around. I tend to respect the idiot less than the other person. I don't know why. I don't like either of them, but it is what it is. But the other thing too is Diego owes loyalty to the people he's attacking. This other idiot doesn't. He doesn't owe loyalty to Dana White or UFC or anyone for that matter, right? He's just a little destructive creep. But Diego, to attack Dana White's family, and by the way, in case I haven't made clear what I'm talking about, here, watch this video.
Why is nobody talking about that the reckoning happened and somehow Dana White gets to fuck fighters? How many female fighters has he had sex with? How many female fighters has Sean Shelby had sex with? Yeah. This is the truth, man. And so let's just get real. There's a lot of dirty ridiculousness. And if you don't want to clean it up or address it and do this, yeah, man, I do have to show videos. I do have to show things because nobody else has recorded anything. Nobody else has protected themselves. Nobody else protected their fighter.
Now, let me just throw this out there, right? Now, I realize that Diego, I guess, was married for 11 minutes. Judging from my experience with him, probably doesn't really understand a whole lot about, relationships in general. Certainly doesn't understand what it would be like to be married to, someone that you actually really care about. And also, just doesn't, I can't expect him to understand. I sure as hell can't expect Joshua to understand. But basically, if a person, whether true or not, publicly makes an accusation that you've fucked other women while you're married to someone else, there's not really a bigger attack that you can make, a more poignant attack that would merit a response of biblical proportions. Okay. Now, to those of you who think that, let's say hypothetically, that Dana really did bang a couple of the girls in the UFC and that would justify Diego's going public with that, you are a moron. Okay. I don't whether Dana did it or not is 100% totally irrelevant. Has nothing to do with this. Okay. Because guess what? Let's say hypothetically that he did. How is that Diego's secret to tell the world? And by the way, you think that Diego was in the room? You think he can validate? Let's say Dana went in a room with someone. You think Diego can validate that that's true? Okay. And nonetheless, whether he could or couldn't, every guy on earth knows that's a code you don't ever break. I mean, let's say hypothetically that you were wired like anyone I would ever hang out with. Okay. Here's the thing. You can hang out with a guy, right? And he can be married and you can watch him. He's got kids, whatever. And then you go on a trip with him and he bangs 3 women and you're kind of like, not even me necessarily. I'm just saying someone could kind of go, man, that guy's kind of a sleazebag. Let's say hypothetically that was your opinion. Not saying it would be mine. I don't care about that kind of thing. That's up, like people's relationships, interpersonal relationships. That shit ain't like, I'm not involved in that. And I'm not going to ask him about it because it's not my fucking business. Okay. It's possible him and his wife have an open relationship. You think I don't know people who have open relationships? I do. And you think that they announce that to people? You think they have to tell everybody around? They're like, hey, just so you guys know, like when we're not hanging out, we kind of have a don't ask, don't tell, kind of know what's up. But like, just as long as no one goes public with it and it doesn't embarrass the family, we don't really care. You think people like announce that? Okay. Because they don't most of the time. That's, because weirdo people wouldn't understand and they wouldn't respect it. They would think that it invalidates their marriage, which it doesn't. Okay. If everybody's in the know, on the road, don't ask, don't tell, we kind of got that, whatever. And you want to know what the one rule you never break with that is? Don't embarrass me. Okay. Do what you're going to do. Make sure you don't fucking embarrass me. I don't want any Tiger Woods situation. I can't have a bunch of girls come in public saying that you did blah, blah, blah. Don't do it. That is the violation, right? That in that situation, that's the violation. And I would imagine that many wealthy, famous men that you think might not have an agreement like that have that agreement. Okay. So, but even if they whether they do or don't, it makes no difference. Okay. Let me tell you who's not in position to ever say anything publicly about what Dana or anyone else does. Any dude on earth, especially a fighter in the UFC who has taken Dana's money. Okay. Do you not understand that? Like this is the thing that I really don't think anyone gets. Okay. Diego took Dana's money for 17 years. Okay. Do you think that UFC and Dana needed Diego more than Diego needed the UFC? Okay. Who needs who? What happens 10 years ago if Dana just goes, his best years are behind him and he lets him go? What does Diego do? Right. And what happens if Diego goes, you know what? Look, I'm retiring from the sport. Nothing. Okay, nothing. So I don't understand how a person could not see that you owe loyalty to the owner, operator, CEO of that company that has taken care of you your entire career. And also, I do understand that he's a fucking idiot, but just so he's clear, in case he sees this and has not thought this through, you couldn't have attacked Dana in a more direct and irreversible way. Dana's done with you now. Okay. If you thought you had a friend in Dana before, which you probably did, you don't anymore, dude. Like that, you just took that bridge and you put an atomic bomb underneath it. Okay. As a person who's married with 3 kids, believe me, I know. Okay. Dana goes on I'm not even going to speculate. I'm just going to say this. Okay. Dana goes on the road for months at a time. Like he's Dana White, man. He's Dana White. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. If his wife is cool with it, cool. If his wife is not cool with it, cool. Still not your fucking business. Okay? Insane. Like, insane. God, man. These guys are such fucking morons. It's unbelievable. But now, let's talk about this other thing, right? So, did you hear that there's now a video of Joshua Fabia waterboarding Diego Sanchez? Did you know that? Did you know that a new video came out of Diego Sanchez on a table with a towel over his face and he's handcuffed to the table so he actually can't defend himself, and Joshua Fabia is waterboarding him? Did you know that? And he called it some kind of breath work. He said that his breath work is what, because that's what he's known for, his breath work. So yeah, a video of him waterboarding Diego Sanchez, right? Does that seem like something that a MMA coach that has any kind of pedigree or, 8 brain cells to rub together would do? Probably not, right? But Diego thinks that he's the best coach ever. He's the best guy ever. Oh, by the way, that's not true. He doesn't have a waterboarding video. He actually has a video of himself being suspended from the ceiling, okay, unable to defend himself, while Joshua punches him repeatedly in the head over and over, and then starts kicking him in the head, then like the arms and shoulders. But Diego suspended from the ceiling, getting punched and kicked in the head by his coach. Okay. Now, do I need to let you guys know what you're trying to avoid, number one, out of everything, if you are a fighter, right, is trauma to the head. Okay, the only reason that you take trauma to the head while you're training is because you are getting better. It's like a necessary evil, right? Sparring, it's like you're figuring out your footwork, you're figuring out your timing, you're figuring out your reach, you're figuring out what combinations work, etc. If you could do that without getting hit in the head, and a lot of people can once they get to a certain point, then you do. You don't want to take shots to the head. Okay, what possible upside would there be in hanging suspended with your eyes closed and letting someone punch you in the face? Okay? Give me and the reason why I brought up the waterboarding thing is because here's what I want to lay out, right? So you remember when we had Abu Ghraib, right? We had the Abu Ghraib scandal, and you have Donald Rumsfeld in front of a Senate Oversight Committee, and they're going, so did you say that waterboarding was an acceptable form of interrogation? He's like, oh, I don't know, So, and he's trying to explain why waterboarding is not torture. Okay, so imagine if they said this, Mr. Rumsfeld, did you write in your memo that hanging detainees from the ceiling and making them incapable to defend themselves and then kicking and punching them in the face repeatedly was an acceptable form of interrogation? How would this not be torture? Which of those would be harder to defend? The waterboarding or hanging from someone from the ceiling and kicking and punching them while they can't defend themselves? Okay, which of those sounds more like torture? Waterboarding or that? Okay, oh man, what's so hilarious now, I'm just gonna inject my own experience into this because I think this is so funny, because I went so hard on these guys in my videos, right? Like the first video, it's been this slow descent into Diego has no credibility anymore. I think I just was ahead of the curve, right? I think if you go look, I basically annihilated this guy in the first video. I obliterated him in the second video. And now I'm just kind of stomping on his, the grave of what was his legacy because he did this to himself. I just was ahead of the curve. I saw exactly what was going on here. Everybody else was holding on to his legacy. And I was like, you guys must be watching a different movie than me, man. Because this dude is not at a place that he's going to come back from this, right? Now, I didn't think he was going to do this. I didn't think he was going to do the thing he did with Dana. And also, listen, I can't lie. When I saw that video of him hanging from the ceiling, I was like, man, these guys are just giving me gold, right? But, look, I went hard at him. And then I'm going to people whose opinions I respect immensely, who certainly are bigger insiders in the UFC than me. And I'm going, man, these guys are really, they're treating him with kid gloves, man. You got Chael, Chael straight up was like, I really like this Josh guy. I think him and Diego are great. And I was like, Jesus, and you got, Bisping kind of doing the same thing. You got everybody, Anthony Smith, everybody's doing this thing where they're like, listen, man, we love this guy. He's amazing, and I understand they respect his body of work as a fighter, but that's not what this channel's about, dude. That's the thing. That's not what this channel's about. That's why whenever anybody breaks my balls about my lack of a professional fighting record, it's like, oh, here, Jesse, tell us about your fight career. I'm like, well, I knocked a bunch of guys out, but they weren't professionals. I knocked out all the guys I fought, but we're talking about smokers, so who cares? I was 28 years old already. My time had passed. But and so people are like, so how are you in a position to talk about this? And I'm like, it's because that's not really what I'm talking about on this channel. Right? There's a whole other thing going on here in this sport that has nothing to do with a person's accolades. Every single UFC fighter would kick the shit out of me. There's no question. There's never been a point in my life where I would win in a fight against any UFC fighter that's not female over 115 pounds and, not in the top five. Any of the top 515 pounders probably give me a problem. Actually, I just don't know. I've always taken that position that small professional girls would, anyway, that's whatever. The point I'm making is, of course, my credibility as it relates to having been in the octagon is nil, but my credibility as it relates to being able to analyze people is pretty strong. And what I'm saying is, I look at this stuff and it's just like, dude, this guy, I can't give him that level of respect just from his career because I'm that's not what I'm interested in this channel. Like this channel, the reason why I love the sport, like I talked about, is because I love what the fights represent. I love it. They've got it all on the line. They're fighting for their life every time. The implications of success or failure are absolutely astronomical. More than any other sport. You win a fight, it matters. Huge. If you lose a fight, it matters. Huge. You know, you're fighting for your life every time. And that's what, like, and so a guy who, you know, kind of like a guy who's kind of blind to any of that, like doesn't even seem like he's even thinking that way. He's just a guy who goes in, he's a really tough, rock'em sock'em guy, you know, that is less interesting to me. They're just less interesting to me. Like I like guys who grasp what is on the line. That's why Kamaru Usman has grown on me so much, because Kamaru Usman gets it, dude. Like Kamaru Usman gets it. He is like, he understands what greatness is, and that's what he's chasing. And he's like, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be the best version of myself, and I'm going to beat all these guys because it represents that I'm the best in the world. And that's what matters to me. The money will come, right? Or Jorge Masvidal goes to the, like Jorge Masvidal was not one of my favorite fighters before. He became my favorite fighter, or one of them, when he told the story about when he went to the jungle and he unplugged from everything. And for 3 months, he had no TV, no cell phone, no nothing. And all he did was think about his life and his career. And he said that the guy he was before was dead. And now all there was this guy who was laser focused on, I'm going to become the best version of myself, and I might even be able to become a champion. He cut all the negative things out of his life, and he was on a mission. That's when I became very attached to his journey, right? And that's why I still, even at this point, I'm still attached to Conor's journey, because it was so meaningful and moving at the time when he was on the way up. So a guy like Diego, he's accomplished a lot, absolutely. But he's not smart enough to even view the game the way that I look at it. He's a rock'em sock'em guy. And I understand exactly why people have so much respect for his career. But if you really understand the way I look at the game, like guys like Khabib, right? Man, it's like their journey matter. Or even now, Islam Makhachev, where he's got the weight of a legacy from his trainers, or from his brother, and what's a surrogate father. He's got that pressure to fill that void and become the champion that he was meant to be. That's what I love. Like I'm attached to his journey now. I will root for him passionately because I want him to achieve that, right? And Khabib, I would never root against him. I could never root against him. You know, if he ended up fighting Conor again, that would be really challenging because, like, you know, I love them both. And like, again, I've said this a million times. I don't think there are a lot of people that love both those guys like I do. And it's because I love the guys that have really grasped that, like the just live or die every time, the highest stakes game there is. And Diego was a rock'em sock'em guy. I'm gonna go in there. I'm tough. Like I'm tough. And it's fun to watch, but I never cared if he won or lost at all. I didn't care. I didn't care. I was never like super excited to watch him fight because he is a weirdo. Like, as you can see now, he was never he was never smart enough to be on the type of journey I'm talking about. You know what I mean? John Jones. I love John Jones. He's so good. That, like, you know, maybe he's gotten to be pretty relaxed about it. Daniel Cormier is my dude. He's my dude. That's why I wanted that third John Jones fight so bad, because what that would have meant if he won, if he fought John Jones at heavyweight and he won that fight as his retirement fight, oh my God, I would have cried 100%. And when it was still a possibility that fight might happen, I actually couldn't talk about it without feeling like I was going to choke up just thinking about it, like thinking about the gravity of that fight and if he won that fight, what that would mean. And it's like, you know, I mean, I realize I'm totally on a tangent here, but this is, if you really want to understand me and why I do this shit and why I love this channel, why I feel like I'm qualified to do it regardless of what my personal pedigree is because my passion for their journey is unmatched. I don't care what anybody says. And that's why I love Mix Molly's content. That's why Mix Molly recommended me. Okay, like that's why he had no problem recommending me. Have you ever seen him recommend another channel? It's because he and I view the game exactly the same. If you like Mix Molly's content is it's the best ever because he sees the humanity in it just like me, you know? And And again, if you understand how he and I look at the game, then you understand why I have so much disdain for Diego now. Like, I don't have another word for it. Disdain, okay? Because to me, this is all about loyalty. This is all about passion. It's all about something so deep in you, a goal so big that you'll fucking die to achieve it. You'll risk death. You'll risk Parkinson's. You'll risk broken bones. You'll risk every single thing that you hold dear to chase that dream. And whether you achieve it or not is irrelevant. It's the chase that matters. And underneath it, you've got loyalty to your team, to the people that helped you get there. Like, all of that stuff matters, and it matters to me more than any other thing. And that's why, fuck Diego, okay? Because Diego owes that to Dana. And if he doesn't see that, then again, he's too stupid for me to respect. That is where this disdain for him comes from. You know, and obviously, like anybody else, I will laugh my ass off when I see a video of Josh hanging him from a ceiling and beating him like he's like a dirty carpet. You know, just literally absolutely no benefit as a training tactic at all. None. You're just going to give him CTE. And any idiot watching can know this is a power play, right? It's just a power play. Like, what's he doing there? Like, you think Josh thinks that that's a benefit to Diego, kicking him and punching him in the face while he's not defending himself? That's a power play. That's a top play. Hey, why don't you lay on your back or lay on your stomach and let me just do some things, okay? You go ahead, lay on your stomach. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, okay? Now you just sit there and close your eyes. Is that super dissimilar from, hey, so I've got a new training tactic I want to share with you. I'm going to go ahead and hang you from the ceiling, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to just take the shots that I give, okay? I want you to just take the shots I give. Some of them are going to be punches. Some of them are going to be kicks. You're not going to know which is which. But I want you to take it, and I want you to let those harden you, all right? And afterwards, okay, after we've hardened you right up, I'm going to throw you on your stomach. I'm going to soften you right up, okay? All of this shit is just him establishing dominance over a weak-minded imbecile, okay? So anyone who's watching that, who thinks that particular video is just like, oh, wow, I knew this guy didn't know what he's doing training. That's not what that is. I mean, it's that, but it's also him, lay on your stomach, okay? Here, I want you to close your eyes. Anything I put in your hand, I just want you to hold it, okay? Don't let go. Don't let go, okay? That is what that is. And Diego doing it. I mean, Jesus Christ. Now, I will say this, look, if you went over to the big blue Scientology building and you went down into the, anyone who knows anything about that cult, right? If David Miscavige, the leader of that organization, went down into wherever they hold anybody in the Sea Org, and he was like, hey, listen, so in order for you to meet Xenu, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to hang you from the ceiling, and I'm going to kick and punch you while you close your eyes, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing today. I want all of you guys to watch this. And I'm doing this for his benefit, okay? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to question whether I'm doing this for his benefit? Anybody? I didn't think so. Now, you, Mr. Lucky Guy, go ahead, put these shoes on. We're going to hang you from the ceiling, and I'm going to beat your face in. And afterwards, I'm going to help you see Xenu, maybe. Okay? Every one of them would do it. And you want to know why? Because they're a bunch of weak-minded, brainwashed fucking retards. So, yeah, that is what I said. That is what I said. And you can go ahead and apply that to anyone else that you think sits into the same category. I've been rambling for a long time, but I think people like when I ramble. I think. But some people also like when I read comments. So let's do this. While I, listen, if you don't want to wait while I cycle through comments, feel free to just shut this off at this point. I appreciate your guys' attention. Oh, look, I hit 12,000. Look at that. But for those of you who want more, I'm going to go ahead and answer the most recent comments. I swear to God, these are just literally the very first ones. These are the most recent comments. All right, let's go. Leonard Hill and best podcast on YouTube. My man, you get a love. Thank you very much, sir. This guy on this dude is hilarious. Who and why would you hate on this guy? Get a life, nerds. Richie Salem, my man. Thank you very much. Hunter Wolf, Dude is a nut for sure. LOL. Love the vid, and this dude is just a wonderful entertainment producing machine. It just keeps getting weirder. Haha. Hunter Wolf, dude. Those are great. I promise those are the last 3 comments that I've gotten on anything. Thank you guys very much. Yes, here we go. Oh, okay. So here we go. This is typical. So when someone wants to insult me, generally they're like illiterate, or like they can't like coherently string sentences together. So Krupa G says, "You and Joshua, y'all a lot." That is the comment. Okay. You and Joshua, y'all a lot. I assume he meant y'all a lot alike, but then he was going to follow that up with, again, accusations with no evidence or data. It's weird. Okay, here we go. Enigma, you take way too long to explain stuff. Shaking my head. That's kind of the point of the channel, dude. If it's your first time here, that is the point of the channel, is I ramble and tangent. You're here to hear about a topic you're interested in, but really you're here. This is kind of more like a stand-up, like a hybrid stand-up motivational speaking routine or something. I don't know. All right. So this one, James Boyle, bro, the second that Diego was pulled from the fight with Cowboy, my immediate thought was that's Diego's opportunity to give Jake Paul the legitimate win that he absolutely needs to keep up this whole fake professional boxing shtick Paul's got going on. Okay. This is a much longer comment, but James Boyle is responding to something I said on my live yesterday, which is that Diego and Jake Paul should fight. That would be brilliant on Jake Paul's thing. It would be the biggest payday for Diego, and I think Jake Paul wins that fight. And I will double down on that. TNT says, awesome sales pitch. Thank you. Funkmaster Flay, have you seen that new video of him hanging upside down and getting beat by Joshua Fabia? Spooky stuff. Like to hear your opinion. I am giving it to you right now, my friend. Forgive your mama. Jesse, we need you on the JRE show ASAP. I totally agree. That is going to happen. Mark my words. Bet your life I will get on the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know how. I have 12,000 subscribers right now. Well, I actually kind of do know how. But I still can't talk about that project. But we're going to get there. Emily Story. Oh, Emily Story pointed out what I had said, or that I misunderstood, that Josh actually did have a coherent point that he was making, that he's been in his body for a long time when he's told. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but let's go. Watch MMA. LOL, I'm more like Chael too. Undefeated and undisputed. He also says, not all great coaches have great pedigrees in competition. Bill Belichick is the greatest NFL coach of all time. Okay, that's not mixed martial arts, dude. Roy Pittman, one of the greatest wrestling coaches of all time, has no competitive background at all. Okay, that's interesting, actually. Not defending Josh, but I wouldn't discredit him just because he has no traditional background. Well, okay, fair. But I think Joshua's done plenty of good job of discrediting himself. Okay, Richard Pictures. Yours is the appropriate reaction to Diego's interview. Chael's was vapid, over diplomatic. Respect my one-time Lynn Country homeboy, whatever. BS. Always the work with the guy. Keep up the punching up, bro. I will. Thank you very much. John Paul, the UFC is so damn horrible. They literally just gave Diego a free $250,000, if not more. That's fine, though, dude. Like, John Paul, that is fine. That's the UFC making sure that no one who has 8 brain cells can accuse them of doing Diego wrong, right? And that's also Dana taking care of Diego again, which even more so makes Diego a fucking weasel for what he does. Oh my God. I mean, the fact, like, dude, he tried to publicly expose or accuse Dana of having an affair or, like, cheating on his wife. Do you understand what that's like? Like, do you understand what kind of attack that is? If you're not married, okay, if you're not, like, I am married. I am very happily married. Okay. If someone did that, first of all, if it's someone like Diego, I would just be like, get real. Come on. Consider the source, dude. This guy literally just, whatever. But at the same time, you're never coming back from that. Fucking never. Okay. Frankie, you will fast turn into my favorite YouTube channel. I love your personality and how you don't give a fuck about anybody else. Right to the point. Thank you, Frankie. You're quickly becoming my favorite commenter today. Ghost Dog says, I knew it, bro. Dana White is the new Don King. He was being sarcastic. The truth. Diego. Oh, wait. Frank Garrett, he tapped Diego after 40 seconds. Dude, that is so funny, man. And then the other thing that they said, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. They were like, I don't think anyone should let Cowboy go off his homophobic, disgusting comments. I'd edit out your ID. Might have Fabia knocking on your door soon. Scary. If he saw what the ID was for. I showed my concealed carry permit. I went like this and showed my concealed carry permit. So, yeah, I mean, anybody who's like, if somebody saw a person's name on a concealed carry permit and they were like, I think that seems like a good house to break into. If a person carries a gun on them all the time, does that seem like a good person who's home to break into? Probably the fuck not, especially not in Texas. Because if you come in my house, I will canoe your face. A new term that I learned today. For those of you guys who are still here late, and I think I've alluded to this a little bit. I've got a new project that involves a lot of Navy SEALs that are going to be my peeps. And I learned that canoeing, per their term, is if you split a person's wig like a canoe. I don't think that's secret. If it is, I apologize, guys. That dude Josh is a scammer. David Koresh. Dude, this is weird. Like, most of the time there are many more negative comments. Neil says, how many seconds would Jake Paul last against Yoel Romero? That's a really hard question to answer. The conspiracy to murder Diego. Rubber. Diego is smarter than all of you. Yes. Diego's smarter than all of you. The reason he said it is because now, if he gets suicided, we will know it's the UFC that did it. Oh my God, he's serious. He's serious. He's serious. So you think the UFC murder threat is legitimate? Okay. Wait, what? Just Barker says, hey, Jesse, my brother Jesse died from COVID, so you're my new honorary brother. Just thought you should know. I didn't like him either, but I listened when he spoke. Anyway, you seen this new footage of Diego training? Yes, of course I have. As a heavy bag for Fabia, it's insane. I'm sorry. If your brother really died of COVID, I'm very sorry about that, my man. But you can definitely consider me your honorary brother, 100%. Yeah, I didn't like him either, but I listened to him. Well, I mean, I could be your honorary brother and you don't have to like me. That's fine, my man. Okay, so Patrick Nash. Diego been guzzling that salty... I'm just going to read it because I think this is funny. Diego been guzzling that salty Fabia Kool-Aid. What a whack job. And what a shame. He was a great fighter for 5 years, or 5 years ago. Fabia's a joke. Agree. All right, that's enough. Oh, shit. I got to take my daughter to jiu-jitsu. Love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Peace.